SMTN.
How's it going, everybody, and welcome to Shin Megami Tensei Network, link 328. I'm your host, Spencer's Presley. Boy, that sounds like something I should edit out, but we know I'm not going to do that. Well, not flubbing intros. I'm over here introducing my special guest of the week, Mr. Mac. Don't make me watch Dune a 7th time, Macca.
It's 17th time.
Damn it.
You better put up that you need to pull up show that discussing films tweet about
Hey Jamie, can you pull that up? Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Jamie's got that pulled up.
Put it up
right
and
now.
show how I have seen Dune 2 16 times.
This is why Atlus still sends you stuff.
Yes.
In case you're wondering.
Yeah,
it's
they
just
totally
because of
still
that.
send me stuff all the time.
They sent you actually Marsh's box. They made Marsh send his box back, and they gave it to you.
Mm-hmm.
So, Becky, I don't think you've been on in a hot minute, but we've had a lot of stuff going on. We've had a lot of things. Not getting sponsored by Gfuel, definitely one of those I'm not holding against anybody.
No, okay.
But,
real quick.
Are you sponsored by Gfuel?
No, but I find it really funny. So I did that short, the G Fuel short, and one of the last comment on that short I got was someone accusing me of like this is an ad, and it's like, bro, I wish it was an ad. I paid for that shit out of my pocket.
You know what I was thinking? So here's the double-edged sword. Maybe because I've been aware of G Fuel for a really long time. I see so many just random one-off Twitter accounts with like a couple hundred like followers or a couple hundred subscribers on YouTube who are like G Fuel brand ambassadors, which basically just means if you use their code, they get like 1% of 1% that you get for the sale. It's like a basic affiliate thing. It's normally not that big of a deal, but like when I heard about the Persona 3 thing, I went, oh, I should sign up for this because I figured at the very least it would be like I'm always a sucker for if I can make anything a discount code with SMTN, I'll do it. Even if I make no money off of it, I just find that a very funny idea. And I was so shocked that like I applied for that maybe like 2 or 3 months ago, and I still haven't ever heard back. And I'm like, maybe they like had such a Herculean wave of brand ambassadors that like now like there's a backlog that by the time like the Persona 6 G Fuel flavor comes out, maybe I'll get an update on it, because it's just so funny of like I'm not over here being like, please let me sell out to you, Master G Fuel. It's just really funny because like, man, I feel like a shill by how much I like this thing, and hey, if I could make like 50 cents to the 100th dollar, I'd sure love to make those 2 quarters.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we'll get into the G Fuel talk more because that's definitely the main most important topic in the world of Atlus news right now. But yeah, that whole process was so funny. So maybe if any of the bigwigs out there wanna bump us up on the list, Mac, what would your G Fuel like discount code be? Would you do Mac? Would you do the full thing like JBM?
It would be what I typically do for a lot of usernames, just JBO Maka.
Okay, yeah, that sounds clean. No, that'd be good.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, it's been a while. We've had a lot of stuff going on. You've been busy. You were pumping out videos for my favorite Bitcoin channel on YouTube. I think Business Marketing Tips Plus.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
You did a good review for them.
Yeah. No. They were like, hey, yo, we got this really cool Persona coin coming up, and we want you to make a bunch of videos
P-coin.
talking about Persona coin.
Yeah, P-Coin.
Yeah, P-Coin. There was some talk
Oh
about
my God.
what was it? Logan Paul or something? Like he was behind.
The
He was
Paulers.
sponsoring this. He was hyping it up.
Yeah, the kids were talking about, like, they said something about pumping and then dumping. I'm not sure if that's, like, do the coins go somewhere? Where do the coins go?
I think they literally like show up to your house and dump them out. They said they were gonna pay me in P-Coin. They were gonna pay me in P-Coin. So like,
that just sounds financially stable. I think that's a great idea.
yeah, I still haven't like gotten it yet, but yeah, P-Coin.
Any day.
Yeah.
Any day.
For the record, I did get paid. I know there's a lot of people who are like,
yeah, because this
I've been treated very well by them. Trust me, I am good. I appreciate the concern from people. I am good. Don't worry.
Guys, Mac knows his value. Hence, by us saying we'll take the world's worst brand deal through G Fuel ever, please.
Mm-hmm.
We have self-respect.
I am worth exactly 2 pennies.
So, Mr. Mac, we had like the best and worst timed last episode. It was really funny. Like, I got a lot of people actually asking me, did you know that Persona 3 was going to be at the Xbox showcase? And it's really funny because, like, I knew the DLC was going to get announced soon. I just didn't think it would be at the Xbox show. And what's funny about it is because we had this big episode where we talked about Atlus re-releases, how should they handle the DLC for the answer, and blah, 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 blah. And I at least kind of wanted to, like, were you kind of surprised? Because it was just like, it was a really early showing. There wasn't really a lot of buzz or a lot of hype behind it. Were you kind of ready for it when you saw that news? Because it was just like, oh, this is just a regular Tuesday. Oh, Jesus Christ!
Yeah, so it was the sort of thing where like I wasn't surprised. I wasn't surprised, and of course, there was also the leaks. There was the leaks. It was somewhere. It was just like. When it happened, it was like, oh, cool. That makes sense that it would show up here, because Microsoft is like just handed out money to these game devs. So, yeah, it's just like, I don't know. I wasn't that surprised. But, I mean, it's cool it's happening. There is that larger discussion, which I kind of want to do a video on, but I have so many video ideas. And so much going on.
You got so many video ideas in so little time. You're suffering from the LaRue problem.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, I've got 9,000 video ideas, and all I want to talk about is car logos.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, we will get into the episode I guess discussion, but it's been a weird time for games, especially just news and stuff in general. I did at least want to say big shout-outs to Vanillaware, who, for all extensive purpose, basically has another hit on their hands with Unicorn Overlord. I don't know if it's because of the demo. It definitely fucking wasn't because of the marketing in the West, but
Nope.
It's the top 4 best-selling games on Switch digitally. Physically, it sold a crap ton in Japan. It sold over 50K in its first week.
I think I saw 74,000, I think.
I think the 74 was all 3 SKUs together, like PS4, PS5, and Switch. But, like, it's completely sold out in Japan. Copies are flying off the shelves and digitally here, so we don't have physical sale numbers, but I was looking this up. I thought it was interesting. It was in the top 5 all week on Nintendo Switch for most downloaded games. And for PlayStation, it was in the top 10. It wasn't able to, like, here's what's weird. People were pre-ordering Sea of Thieves more than Unicorn Overlord, which, like, just, like, very weird in my brain, but I'm like, hey, at least, like, Microsoft's making that money, I guess. But, like, I was shocked to see it even in the top downloaded at all. And then extremely disappointed, I couldn't even find it on the top best-selling Xbox games. Like, I made it to, like, 500... And I was like, I think I just gotta stop. Like, I could not find it for the life of me. It was like,
it don't exist. It don't exist.
Well, I mean, hey, one of the things like with their Xbox deal they have, like they just have to put everything out on Xbox. But it is wild because at least with like things like Persona, like 5 Tactica, and especially with Royal, like we saw that on like the best selling for all the systems it was on. So it's just extra wild that like it's the best selling game on like 2 out of its 3 platforms, but the third one you can't even find it on. Actually, you know what? I'd be curious about looking up is how it's done on PC. Oh no, there is no
There's no
PC port.
PC.
Mac, I know I didn't say this was a news thing, but I gotta ask you about this. Did you see the quote about Vanillaware not doing a PC version? Technically, this is from Atlus West and not them, but did you see the quote that got put out?
I don't remember the quote exactly, but I did see it, and I do remember the basic idea.
So Atlus was asked during an interview. They were doing basically ask Atlus West, and they'll ask the dev team and stuff for you. When Destructoid, I think it was either Destructoid or somebody else, was asking why is there not a PC version? Because Vanillaware has just never ever done a PC version of their games. They basically confirmed they don't ever plan on doing a PC version for the foreseeable future. They said, as per our publishing agreement with Vanillaware, there will be no PC version of this game.
Mm-hmm.
So clearly, and it confirms what I've always expected for years, is that they want them to make a PC version. They just don't want to make one. I don't know what weird like feat mods they think like is going to happen to their art and stuff like that. But like, it's just so funny because it's like it's such a huge market, and especially now that they're making their first Xbox game, it's like you guys are making a game that's going to play on this console for maybe a couple thousand people, tops.
I think...
But you won't make it on PC.
I think, genuinely, I think it's because... Basically the same reason why Atlus was so hesitant for such a long time, Sega, where they just didn't understand... I feel like they just don't understand how big the market is.
See, I feel like it's gotta be because of either the piracy or the modding community. Like, because Japan's, as a whole, you're correct, has been very slow at wanting to kind of, like, come to it. But, like, as we'll talk about later, Sega and Atlus are one of the best definitions of a company who's in, like, basically dead last place in terms of following market trends. Mm-hmm. And if even they know to put their games on PC, you've got to look extra bad by comparison.
Mm-hmm.
So, obviously, I'm glad it's selling well. That quote that went around did not make me feel better when launch was coming up, of them saying, hey, you guys know that thing that we do where we spend all of our money we have into releasing our games and we have no money afterwards? Yeah, that's our game. Hope you buy Vanilla. Hope you buy Vanillaware's next game, because we're definitely just being held hostage at this point by ourselves. So I'm glad at least like it's done well. That way, obviously we don't know like the legs it's going to have. I still haven't picked it up myself. Did you get a chance to mess around with the demo or dick around with Unicorn at all, Mac?
No, I've just been playing Rebirth.
It's a hard life we live.
It's very hard life. Because, like, in the last month, like, I don't know if anyone understands how crazy the last month of my life has been, but, like, first I had to play Persona 3 Reload. Then after that, I had to play Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. And now I have to play Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I don't think people understand my life, okay?
You're doing a really bad job of being poor. Being poor means you don't have money or time. Unfortunately, you have both of these things somehow.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know what?
But,
I disagree. I disagree.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you taking a strong stance against my opinion on your wallet.
Yes.
So, shout out to Vanillaware. Everyone keep checking them out. I'm glad people are playing the game. I was so shocked. I tweeted this out. Did you see that David Jaffe even made a video about Unicorn Overlord?
No.
David Jaffe played the whole demo. All hours allowed played in the demo. And he made a video saying, this demo is so good, I'm going to buy this game right now, and you should too. And I was crazy. Like, holy fuck, man.
That's crazy.
That's like hilariously probably the best marketing they've had in the West.
No, like that says something when David Jaffe is praising your game. Not in the sense of like, oh my god, the creator of God of War is praising our game,
Damn,
but in
bro.
the sense David Jaffe is like, yo, this is good. Because freaking, he's never gonna let go of Metroid Dread. He's never let.
Oh, come on, dude! You cannot still be holding that against him.
No, I'm not. But I mean, like stuff. Like
no, obviously, yeah. The internet will never not do that.
Yeah,
the internet will never not hold it against him.
No, but it's like he says some dumb things. So it's like, yo, when he gets it right, that means something.
One of my favorite things. He did it a lot more back in the day, but I still like catching it whenever I do. I really like subscribing to his channel just because every now and then he'll do like a free call thing, and talking to that man is just one of the most weirdly polarizing things because you just never know what the fuck's going to come out of his mouth. He just goes like a million miles an hour, but I know a lot of people probably do not like David Jaffe. I'm a big fan for it. I'm also very biased just because of like various other things I go to. Him promoting a game I was not expecting in my 2024 bingo card. But yes.
Yeah.
Speaking of things to promote, and again, we definitely sound like shills, but this is very much not. Mac, when I called you, I said I need to prep my drink podcast because I think, no joke, until I run out of this goddamn powder, I think every episode of the podcast I'm going to have to fill up my dumb Persona 3 cup because I enjoy this flavor so much. It's upsetting, like, because I've said some things about G Fuel, man. They've got some ass flavors. There are flavors of G Fuel that I've tried that, like, I physically couldn't stomach. Like, I gave my wife the Tetris one. I was like, it's Tetris. How do you fuck up a flavor for Tetris? She was like, it tastes like soap. And as soon as I heard that, I couldn't untaste it.
I kind of want to taste it now.
You should. There's a can version of it. It's like it's whatever.
Yeah, I know. I need to go. I need to drive over to Target.
The worst flavor.
I know exactly where the stand is.
They don't make it anymore, but the worst one I ever had back when I was going through my period of working 9 million jobs last year. One of my coworkers brought in a can of the Super Meat Boy Forever flavor, and it was oh my god, it was so bad. I had a sip and I was like, this tastes like ass, and not good ass, bad ass.
So so I've tasted a few of them. Yeah, but I will say, they don't do this one anymore. They don't do this one anymore, but. They had a Monster Hunter Rise. Well, it was like mango.
Oh no, yeah,
that one was
like, good.
That one was great. I loved that one. That was like the only one I would order. And now that they don't do it, the next best thing I found has been the Mega Man.
Oh, because it's like a blue slushy. Yeah.
Yeah, and like that one, like the main thing for me is like, does it taste good and does it go down easily? And those go down easily. But if it's not that, then I don't want it. I will say though, cadenza, not bad.
I feel like I probably like it more than like most people with it, but yeah, like I kind of wanted to like give the preference of what our history is for it, because obviously a lot of people either are very much like, okay, I like this, I hate this, or I've never tried it, because like they are really, really all over the place with it. Like the only ones like I've recommended to people, the Spyro one's really good, and the Crash Bandicoot one are like my go-to if I had to drink one, which was like, it was good, but like there were other drinks I enjoyed having out there. They weren't like anything like that blew my hair off, but basically if it was even remotely a fruity flavored drink, you couldn't go wrong with it. That being said, like when the Persona 3 set got announced, I basically told people, okay, I want this because it's a cool cup. I highly doubt I will enjoy the powder itself, because I had never had the powdered drink before this. Had you ever had, like, the powdered one?
You mean, like, you get the tub?
I'd never owned a tub before this.
Yes. Yeah.
So, yeah, so, like, my expectations were low, but I was like, as long as they don't fuck up the cup. That's all it is. I'm paying $40 for this cup and hoping for the best. And then it was just
Mhm.
so
And
funny of like,
to be fair, it is a
yeah,
nice cup. It's a
you
nice
should see
cup.
the metal ones they have. Have you ever like seen the metal like shakers they have?
No,
They have a
no.
OG Season 1 Gundam shaker. I still, to this day, regret not buying when I was at AX. It is very clean. Like, it's the same design and
Mhm.
everything, it's just in a big, heavy-ass metal cup. I kind of wished the Persona one was at first when I got it, but then, like, looking at, like, how it kind of uses the transparency of the blue, I was like, it wouldn't have looked as cool if it was just a printed blue cup. Like, the plastic kind of works with
Mhm.
it.
Mhm.
But,
No, I
But
agree.
yeah, so you got it first. So I'm gonna let you. You made a short. I made a short myself, blatantly copying you, and wanted to give you the floor. What did you think in terms of A, the presentation, and B, just the whole thing of like, hey, fuck it, we bought this for $40. Let's review this thing.
Mhm. So, the actual like the cup, I genuinely think the cup is just great. I think it's great. It's the sort of thing where like, yeah, I'm glad I bought it because honestly, like really looking at it, it's actually a pretty decent price when you factor in like what is the average price of a tub and and a cup this size, and it's in general, I just think it's like this is good. Um, but then like the drink itself, I mean, the actual like design of the tub is like whatever. I don't really care, but yeah, no, just the tastes good. It tastes good. It tastes like what was it say again? Strawberry.
I thought it
What
was
was it?
citrus strawberry.
Citrus strawberry. That's it.
I still can't
Yes.
get over the fact they didn't like name it after one of the 9 million in-universe drinks for that game.
Yeah. Do they call it Cielo Mist? They should have called it
Cielo
Cielo
Mist.
Mist.
I feel like when I think of like default Atlus names, like that's the first one I go to.
Hmm. It's so funny to me that Sierra Mist is dead.
For what should like the Atlas version of Starry be? Like we still have to keep it Cielo. Like do we call it like Cielo Star?
Cielo-y.
Because like I'm thinking about it, like in Universe Atlas drinks, like we have a Seven Up equivalent. There's a Mountain Dew equivalent. There's a Sierra Mist equivalent. I think there's a Dr Pepper one as well.
Is there? I don't remember. Not off the top of my
There's a
head.
lot of just random drinks that they like make word puns out of. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So since you've gotten it, because you've had it for like what, like 2 weeks now?
About that,
Are
yeah,
you?
probably.
Is it a thing that you go out of your way and you're still drinking, or has it been like a thing of like, oh, every now and then I'll like maybe make it?
Oh, I have like one a
Okay,
day.
that's more than me, dude.
Well, it's what it is I just have a cup to wake up because it's it gives you energy. So I replace it instead of coffee, I'll just have
That is true,
that.
and it is like not a healthy drink. It's at least healthier than coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And it still kind of wakes me
yeah, I
up.
forget that it has caffeine. Actually, that's a good point. I've mostly kind of used it for like when I know I'm gonna be like playing a game or doing something like this. Is my first podcast doing it with it, and when I was like thinking about it, I was like, no, honestly, because at first I was like, okay, with how big the cup is, so in all honesty, I'm a stupid fucking heathen. I've never used a shaker cup ever in my life before I bought this. So I was like, okay, how much of a pain in the butt is this going to be to make with it? But it's like, honestly, as long as I have ice and can prep it, it's really not that big of a deal.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you know what? She just came in. I need to ask her this too, because she's had some before. So you liked the flavor of the Persona drink, but you remember any of the other like G Fuel flavors I'd given you, like the Tetris one or the Naruto one or the other ones? Did you ever enjoy any of those? They were all bad. Okay. So like to be fair, She also thinks every energy drink is awful. Like, every time I ever get any energy drink or anything that's like a weird new can of whatever, she always wants to try it and then immediately asks, why am I putting this poison in my body? So I was legitimately shocked when she tried it. She was like, oh, that doesn't taste awful.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Nah, it's so much of G Fuel is just riding off of the brands.
oh no.
It's just riding off
Well,
the
I mean,
brands.
like, it's that thing of like, hey, you had to come up with the powder, get a flavor, and then find someone who doesn't suck at designing cups and boxes. Like, that's basically all you got to do.
Mm-hmm.
So
No, you're absolutely
you
right.
bring up a good point, though. In terms of the price, it's almost kind of like a like it's a pro and a con for me. So it's $36 for a tub. A tub is 40 servings. It's like less than $1 a serving, and it's basically like the entire equivalent of like a regular sized bottle of water will like get you a scoop of that. So it's like for less than $1, that's fine, but I still feel like for powder, that's probably pretty expensive. Said man who's literally never bought protein powder in his whole life. But like value-wise, I'm like, I feel like I don't know why I would ever just buy the tub unless it was on sale, and they do go on sale a lot. But then you bring up the point of like for $4 more, you got this giant cup.
Mm-hmm. Basically.
So it's kind of like this weird like preposition of like, why would you not just get the, like, who doesn't want the cup? Like, even if you don't want the cup, like, fuck it, I'm sure you could sell the cup or whatever for it. So it's been funny now that it's sold out. Like, I'm sure they'll bring back the flavor, and this is the fucked up thing, man. I might have to just like wait for a sale if this comes back, or if I know it's going to sell out, because I'm like, I legitimately think I'm going to have to just ration this now. Because like when it's gone, I'm going to be like, fuck, I don't want to buy this for like $90 on eBay in 30 years.
Yeah, no, seriously.
Here's the fucked up part. I was just thinking about it. Because it's sold out. Do you think anyone is selling this on eBay? I'd be so curious.
We
I'm
could
checking
check.
right now with it. But yeah, G Fuel review time. I'm glad I bought it. It's a weird thing I now own in my collection. If you want it, I will say though, they're pretty active and good at restocking. You can wish list it if it ever goes back in stock, because after I put up my video, I don't know if I didn't check the comments on yours. I got a lot of people, and I felt bad about this, who were like, "Oh shit, that looks cool. Can I buy it?" No, it's gone. And like
No, you're not allowed.
so they're at least pretty good about like getting that kind of stuff announced and whatnot with it. So if you want it, I would say keep an eye out. But yeah, that's basically it. It's a ringing endorsement for something that should have been a stupid meme purchase.
Mm-hmm.
Now, speaking of other things I did not prep you to talk about, but I figured I might as well throw it in here, because we can kind of then segue it into the next topic. Today we had breaking music news. The SMT5 vinyl got announced. Mac, I know you're a big vinyl fan. You've got all of Paul McCarthy's greatest hits on vinyl. What did you think of this news?
I think it's rad. I want it. I still don't have a record player.
Welcome to every vinyl fucking collector in 2020.
I genuinely, I have vinyls that are brand freaking new. They're still in the plastic, and I don't have a record player. Because I don't got
Mac,
money!
I've got breaking news from the eBay fronts. People are selling this for over $100. I love there are two listings at over 125, and one sold 2 days ago for 125.
Now I'm upset that little shithead knocked the tin over and knocked like a fifth of it out onto the floor.
Dude, the cat just wanted to try some. It was trying to get the gamer fuel.
That cat, man. That
powdered
cat.
gold. So do you have any other Atlus vinyls?
No. I want to get, honestly, just all like the fan gamer vinyls I want to get.
Well, I mean, there's not a lot. I was worried you were going to say I'm 8-bit. Because really all they have is Nocturne, right? Are there any others?
It's just Nocturne and 5. That's just what I meant.
Yeah, like I like the other releases that have been done by I Am 8-Bit, my thing with that is I had a bit of a vinyl buying problem of like, damn, bro. Buying vinyl is expensive, but like especially the limited like higher print stuff. Originally, I really kicked myself for not like getting the like giant big Persona 5 vinyl edition from them, but like the wait time for production is so long, it's so expensive. It's a really cool purchase, and if there was like a soundtrack where I was like, fuck, I really need this, I would understand. But it was just one of those things where, like, I just eventually had to kind of step away from buying game vinyls just because it was so pricey and took a long time with it. But, like, I'm glad that they still come out. Like, it's still a huge community of, like, people who want stuff like that. I'm in the weird minority of, like, I appreciate CDs because they're tiny and I can rip them and I can play them in a car and just do little goofy stuff like that. Whereas, like, a vinyl, I have to, like, kind of prepare and it's like fun and like I still love all the vinyls I still have in my collection. Like I love like probably my favorite one to bust out is have you ever heard the soundtrack for Valhalla? Like
Yes.
I love like the idea of just putting that on a vinyl just is so fitting for like that bar theme that it's like I enjoy doing that. Like I've put on I've got like a Persona 3 vinyl and Persona 5 one as well. Like I enjoy like playing those as like cool little things to show off, but it's a thing where much like buying like figurines and probably art books honestly where it's a thing I greatly appreciate but from a financial side I have to dip out of just because it's like nah bro it's a slippery slope, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, it can get. I mean, it can get expensive. Like for just for like a standard vinyl, it's like $30 or something.
But yeah, that is that went up on sale or will be going up on sale for Fangamer soon. Their stuff thankfully doesn't usually sell out like crazy fast, so I would say if you're interested, keep an eye on it. The art on it is super clean, but I will say timing wise, a little weird, and I only mean that just because in 3 months there will be new songs for Vengeance,
Yeah, yeah,
and
you're
it's kind of
right.
like could we have maybe held that off like just a little? Because like there's not going to be that many new songs.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, I'm glad because like SMT5 soundtrack, I
It
think
rips.
has never really been properly appreciated. I remember back when SMT5 came out and people were having that, people were having their issues with it, and people would talk about like, oh man, like it's just like the music's just not even as good as like before. And I was always just like, what are you talking about? This is like one of like this is up there with SMT4, Ryoja Kazuka just nailing it, hitting it out of the park. So I'm really glad to see people like actually go back and appreciate this damn soundtrack.
Yeah, I think the 5 soundtrack is going to get a lot more love with the new release though. Of it's even more time separated away from like Persona 5 because like it's not a like in most SMT games never are. It's not a traditional like put it on poppy kind of soundtrack. It's very atmospheric, it's very heavy, it's got a lot of stuff going on with it. So I'm really into that. And also big shoutouts. I just checked the Fangamer website. They actually still have the Nocturne vinyl in stock. So the Nocturne vinyl is 79. That's 4 vinyls, and the SMT5 one is 89, but that's on 5 discs. And I mean, if you're already going to be making bad financial decisions, you have to pick up. There's a Jack Trio vinyl slipmat, which has Jack Frost, Black Frost, and Pyrojack as like a little like vinyl like mat cover. It's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Hashtag not sponsored. Hashtag should be sponsored. But that will
Mm-hmm.
lead us into not real topic number 900. But I mean, I feel like we went from Persona 3 coming out to really not a lot of Atlus news, and then like a surprising amount of Atlus news coming out. But this one we had known was coming for a while. We finally, after I think like it even got like basically early announced, but not 100% concrete details, we now finally have an official release date and publisher knowledge for the SMT Tabletop RPG. So we're not going to get into this too much because we've talked about it on the podcast before, but I wanted to kind of get your opinion real quick, Mac. Are you much of a tabletop RPG guy at all?
I mean, I've played them in the past, but I'm not like super into them. But this is something like I've played enough that I am genuinely interested in to see how this one goes.
Yeah, because I think a large, because obviously at least in my area of like the Midwest, I'm not sure like where you are. How big are like tabletop bars or like tabletop lounges? Like we have so many over here that are constantly booming with people who are either playing D&D or playing other kind of like tabletop games where like it's really made a huge resurgence, especially over the last couple of years, in part due to like people like watching Critical Role or other things going on. Like, is it like a big thing like where you live really, or like haven't really noticed?
I haven't really noticed any like tabletop bars. Like I only just recently like they opened up a what is it a barcade. One actually finally opened up in my town recently. Went to that and that was pretty nice. But beyond that, like no, like I haven't really noticed any anything for tabletop.
So my optimistic plan, but hopefully probably happening, is by the time this comes out, so it is full name, hold on to your pants, Shin Megami Tensei, the role-playing game, comma, no, not comma, uh, Tokyo Conception, officially announced, coming out Q3, coming out by a pretty like small publisher. It's called Lion Wing Publishing. They mostly do translations of other Japanese tabletop RPGs, and I'm not sure how they found this one, but man, I'm sure fucking whoever's in charge of licensing stuff at Atlus was like, "Damn, bro, this is like the easiest one." It's like they were like, "Who was asking for this? Who was whatever?" But like from the announcement to even now that it's out, it's been so funny because like it's such a much bigger thing than I would have even ever guessed like 10 years ago. So it's not only coming out in hardcover form, there's also a PDF version, and there are no shit 3 different versions of this game. You can get the
Mm-hmm.
cover art for the original game, but like with the blue tent. There's the death version, and then there's also the Niholo version. All the contents are going to be the same with it. I won't be crazy enough to like get all 3 versions, but like I will definitely plan on picking this up because I used to be really really into playing tabletop RPGs back in the day, like when I was in high school. Haven't had a chance to play anything in a while, especially with like how easy it is now with like different tabletop simulator games or just like doing like video like tabletop RPGs. It would be so much fun for like us and all of our friends to just say, okay, fuck it, we're gonna do like a 3 hour stream of us learning, making characters, and trying to play this and getting absolutely fucking demolished.
No, no, seriously, like that's one of the reasons why I want to try this is because it sounds like it'd be a great thing to stream, like a little like community show sort of thing. Get a bunch of people together just to play and see how it goes. And sounds like a lot of fun. Sounds like it'd be a lot of fun. I want to try it out.
My hope, and I feel like with how small of an operation that this probably is, this would be the kind of thing like, man, especially with like how many different voice actors are on like Critical Role, like this would be such a slam dunk of like just give them an early version of the game, have them run it, and just like I can only imagine how many more pre-orders they would get for something like that. Although at this point, I feel like Critical Role is like so big that it's kind of like, yeah, like that probably isn't going to happen or whatever, unless like Atlus themselves wanted to like put some money behind it. But the way these licensing deals work, I'd be shocked if they announce much more than just retweet a couple of times. Uh, For info, though,
Just give it to us.
yeah, give it. Yeah, come on. What, you can't just give us a PDF or something?
Give it to me.
But yeah, there's a
Pay
there's a
me.
couple of different previews out there. There's a trailer as well as kind of showing off what the game looks like. The hardcover version is $50. The PDF is 30, or if you want to get both, you can get them for 60, which I think is totally fair for like a 300 plus page hardcover book. Very
Hmm.
excited. No idea when we can kind of learn more about it. I need to reach out to the publisher for this to try and find more, because this would be something I would be all over, not only learning to play but also just in general picking up, learning like how this came to be, because I feel like there's got to be like some weird story about I can't imagine this was just some random email that got shot across. They were like, okay, here you go, here's the license, like this 20-plus-year-old like PS2 inspired. Because remember, this is like literally an almost 20-year-old tabletop game from Japan, just getting translated. It's not SMT5 related. It is based around and was tied to Nocturne. It's very weird.
Hmm.
But yeah, the hard part though, Mac, we have to find who will be our 3 to 5 people to play, and then who the hell gets to be the GM.
Well, clearly the lore master would have to be LaRue because lore master and all that.
I feel like I feel like lore master would have to be separate from like the game master. Like the lore master's there for when you like pronounce something wrong, and he's gonna go, actually.
He would just be sitting in the call, not saying anything until someone said something
He'd be
wrong.
like, what's the person who types every word said at the court cases? Like the typographer?
Maybe I don't
He
know.
he would be that, except making live corrections during the stream.
Yeah, love you, LaRue. I'm not. I'm messing around. You're great. Don't be upset.
LaRue is
I'm
currently
poking fun.
updating the. Are the wikis ready yet, or are they still working on the new wikis?
I think they're still working on the
We've
new
we've
one.
got to make a new pronoun section, because now we've got the new official Jack Frost pronouns.
Yes,
He slash ho, please.
he ho.
Well, Mac, we've survived 9 million kind of related news topics. Are you ready to talk about the most easy slam dunk, no one's going to be mad at Spencer after this episode topic ever?
Sure.
So, episode Aegis and the Persona 3 Reload expansion pass, which I will just refer to as a season pass because they're basically the same thing. They got announced. In the West, it is $35. If you have Game Pass Ultimate, I cannot recommend this enough. Get it. You will get to use it for free, and if you own a copy of Persona 3 Reload, as long as you redeem it, that is always yours. Unlike when you play games on Game Pass, if your subscription lapse, even though you redeemed it as a member, because it's a perk, they can't take it away from you. So even if like you played on Game Pass, you see that it's on sale one day for like 50% off, and then your membership expires, or like because Reload's only going to be on Game Pass for like a year anyway. You have until now to January to play it and redeem it and all that fun stuff like it. They just can't take it away, which I think is like a super super cool little thing about that I'd learned. But for all the other normies out there, because obviously we've got people playing on PlayStation 4, 5, and Steam, the Season Pass came out. Wave 1 is here. It's a 3-wave program copying every Season Pass known to man from 2 generations ago. Wave 1 is the EX background traversal music. Wave 2 is Velvet remixes for battle themes and traversal, as well as Velvet Room costumes. And then episode I Guess, which is just a remade version of The Answer, will be Wave 3 in September. Wave 1's out. Wave 2's, I think, June. There's a lot of different things to kind of, like, parsect with this. But, like, real quick, base thoughts. Where are you at now? You've had to kind of sit on it for, like, a week. Are you pro season pass? Are you anti season pass? Like how do you feel about this thing now, Mac?
I think the there's absolutely a part of me that is like, oh, thank God I don't have to buy the entire freaking game again just to get the answer. There's no Persona 3 Fez load. But when you break down the actual like cost, it's still kind of insane how expensive this is going to be. So like for the full experience, for the full Persona 3 Reload experience, you're going to be paying minimum $105. That is insane. But also, beyond the answer, this DLC sucks shit. This season pass sucks.
I would say this is the most hilarious confirmation. Like, if people ever like think, hey, you're being too hard on Atlus. Atlus isn't that out of touch. Tell me this does not feel like the most half-ass baby's first attempt at making a season pass and completely falling on your face.
No, oh my God, no, seriously. It's like, cool, the answer, that's rad. That is going to be worth it. Maybe not for that price, but that will totally be worth it. These first two the entire idea of the drops is to give you reasons to come back to the game. Costumes and music are not reasons to come back to a JRPG, a linear JRPG.
So there are so many different aspects to get into with this. So let's at least start from the top. Did you buy it? Because it is out now. You can now buy it if you want. You don't have to, but you can buy it.
I have not bought it yet. But if I'm being completely real, the reason why I haven't bought it yet is because I'll probably maybe cover it for Game Explain, so I might just get it for free later.
I mean, that's completely understandable. Like, realistically,
yeah.
Why would you buy this if you're already done with Persona 3 Reload, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, like, I'm literally still, like, halfway through that game. So the idea of me being like, oh, cool, I'll fuck around with some costumes and some, like, I will definitely have the game beat by the time the Velvet Room costumes come out, but, like, just for the music alone, I was like, I like all the songs in here, I want to check this out, I like seeing how they do music, DLC and things like that, so I was like, oh yeah, I'll check it out, I know I'm going to cover it. I'm like the opposite of you, I know I'm not getting a fucking code, so let's just fucking bite the bullet now and, just get this thing. So what was funny about it was buying it, I didn't really have any FOMO. Like, I haven't been like pimping this like, oh hey, yeah, you better get this, you're really going to regret it. Like, this is the most, only buy this if you really feel like you have to, or you just know you're going to buy it eventually. Like, literally, if you're not playing Persona 3 Reload, don't buy this DLC. Like, obviously, like, we'll talk about is the answer worth it once it comes out, but that's not going to be till September. It's like, this is literally just they wanted the money up front. They wanted the money up front. Like, I genuinely believe them, because there were a lot of interviews as well that came out after this trailer. I believe them that this game is not done. Because, infamously, Atlus always pre-bakes all of their DLC on the disc. Mac, would you like to know how big the update was for the music DLC? 0 gigs. It's on the disc. It's all on the disc. All the costumes, all the music, all the stuff that's in the first two waves is on the disc. So, like, if you're someone who's pissed because you don't think you're, like, oh, they held this back, the answer, they did not hold back. The answer, I genuinely believe that they had no intention of developing at launch, and then thought, okay, how could we make it work? And we'll get into that later with the actual talk of the answer with it, but, like, if you're just someone who's mad that they made this season pass, and you can't buy any of it piecemeal, and, like, because, like, I genuinely believe, I bet you there are people who would want just the costumes or want just the DLC music who probably don't want the answer or whatever, who just want to buy it a la carte.
One of those weirdos who's just, for whatever reason, they think that, one of those weirdos who was like, No, don't include the answer because the answer sucked the first time, so that means they have to make it bad
It's
the
true.
second time.
Their hand is being forced. It has to be the exact same
Yeah,
game. Uh,
it has to be exactly the same. It has to be just as terrible as it was the first
so,
time.
like, I completely get it. If your argument is they held back content that they could have included at launch with these first two waves, 100%. This is a garbage season pass, but I don't think you can say that all of the DLC is going to be bad. Like, we still are so far out from knowing more of the answer. Because, like, honestly, I will be shocked, and this is coming from someone who's never been the biggest fan of the answer, but also I haven't played it in almost 15 years. But, like, I am excited to try the answer again because, much like Persona 3 Reload, I was not that excited about the idea of coming back to this world until I got to experience it with all the new changes and stuff that they did with it. So I'm like, hey, there's a chance they could make this episode DLC really, really interesting. Like, they've already confirmed it's still the same length as the original, basically. It's going to have a lot of new content. It's going to have new changes. They probably won't change the story, but at the same time, it's like, hey, more new dungeons and more new, like, stuff to do in this game seems pretty fun. Because where I start losing sympathy with the argument against this season pass, or the value proposition, is this. Mac, was any part of your review holding against this game the fact that it didn't come with the content in Fez?
No.
When you played that game, did you feel like that was a game that was a complete experience beginning to end worth its $70 price tag?
Yes, absolutely.
Then no one should say, oh, they're holding back the ending of the game. Now, to be fair, they're fucking stupid, and all the marketing for this is experience the final chapter of Persona 3. Stop it. Stop saying that. Stop just telling people, hey, you know that game you bought last month? Well, we held off the final chapter. You have to give us another $35 for it. Don't market the answer like that. Like, there are so many other ways they could do it, but they keep just saying, it's the final chapter. It's like, dude, we didn't fucking buy the series finale of Better Call Saul just to find out we have to watch El Camino 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Boogadoo badoo. Yeah, no, it's. I understand why they're marketing it like that, but it really does. It kind of comes across in a very oh god, what was that game? Azura's Wrath. It kind of comes off as a little Azura's Wrathy, where it's like you just like
it leaves a bad taste in people's mouths.
You literally sold us back the ending.
But see, that's
game.
the fucked up thing, though. It only sounds like that if you haven't played it. So, like, to people like me who have experienced it, it's like, no. Like, whether you like the answer or not, Persona 3 is still Persona 3 with or without it. It's an addition to it. It's still definitely part of that world, but it's not like the third semester in Royal. It's not this thing that has to be experienced right after one another. It is a completely standalone story that takes place after the events of Persona 3. Like, Persona 3 unequivocally ends where Reload ends. There's no part of it where they're like, to be continued, and then takes you to the PlayStation Store and asks you to pay $15. So, like, I think we need to be realistic, and obviously not like us, as in like the community. When you complain about this game price-wise, if you think $35 is too much, that's totally fine. But when I see so much of the argument about now people are wanting to shit on this remake of 3, it's like, no. You cannot be, like, praising how much you liked this game a month ago, and now, because this thing is getting remade, that spoilers we all knew, because it was in the fucking data leaks, was getting remade, is happening now. Because it's that whole thing of, like, if you don't like the answer, that's fine, but at the same time, like we were talking about, they're not just sticking a PS2 emulator and giving us the same thing. There are so many, because like, I'm definitely one of those people where, like, the most and the best changes, in my opinion, to Persona 3 Reload are all in the gameplay department. And the answer is extremely, extremely gameplay heavy. So there's so many ways that they could improve that overall experience.
Mm-hmm. No, it's like the main deal with with the answer is just making sure it's good. It's like just making sure it plays well.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. That's part of the reason why I was so like, anyone who says don't include the answer, it's bad, is stupid. Because all you really need to do is just make it play good. And there's no reason why it shouldn't play good.
Yeah, it's like, what if you... Because, like, let's use this logic and say the same thing happened with Persona 5, and obviously the third semester role is, like, not a complete comparison, but, like, let's use it like this. If someone didn't like Persona 5's ending like myself, and then was offered to play this extra brand new dungeon, why wouldn't you still want to try, oh hey, let's learn what we did in development, and then see, because like it's now going to have that added benefit of it's everything expected from being played, because I assume it will be like the original game where you can just cold boot this from a new save file, and it's not going to require a completed save, but we'll expect that you're going to be aware of the game's mechanics and not really hold back on you. Like, I'm excited to see how they kind of mix things up, and I would at least also expect that this is going to be somewhat of a more steep challenge just because of how much like it leads up. Like it's a lot of there's a lot of bosses in this DLC. Like there's going to be a lot of content and stuff like people to kind of like go through. So I think they have a lot of time to like show the value of it. I'm not sure how they're going to really do that in the most effective way, but like at the same time, looking at how well Persona 3 Reload is done, like realistically, let's take a step outside of Twitter, because obviously it's always easy to see like the dumb vocal minority online and be like, damn bro, people are so pissed about this, but like in reality, like we all know that this is gonna sell thousands and thousands and thousands of like season passes. Like people are gonna buy this like crazy.
Especially with how like crazy dedicated Persona fans are.
Oh, but I mean, like even with it not being that, of like, this is like one of the most popular games of the year so far, and assuming the year doesn't kind of like get extremely crowded, like September I feel like is a good time to release DLC for this. Like kind of making a comparison with like Xenoblade Chronicles, like. Oh, well, was going to be September, and then the Splatoon swap happened, but, like, back, like, when 3 came out and, like, other things for it, like, September is not always usually, like, a super crowded month. So, like, I think September's a pretty good time for, like, give me, like, a 35-hour-long JRPG, like, little, like, side quest edition for it. Like, oh, yeah, that sounds perfect. Now, Mac, though, are there any changes you're expecting them to make with the answer? Like, are there any things like... Because obviously with, like, Reload, it was very easy to be like, okay, you have to give a skill inheritance. You have to do this. Like, my weird only thing that sticks out to me with the answer is, like, don't be afraid to trim it down. You don't have to include every bit of that game.
I feel like what they're going to do is they're not going to trim it down. Rather, they're just going to... They're going to add and make it more like narratively make it fuller. So the pacing is better.
All right, here's a weird prediction question, and I'd be very curious to see what the audience thinks as well. At the end of 2024, what will be the better expansion? Will the answer be more fun than the new dungeon and route in SMT5 Vengeance?
I'm going to say no.
What do you mean? I said, which one do you think will be better? You can't say no.
I'm sorry. I misunderstood what you said. I thought you said, will the answer...
No.
Be
at the end of
than...
the year, which one do you think people will genuinely say had the better dungeon?
It's difficult because SMT5's dungeons suck.
I know, dude. That's why I'm like, these are not games with well-known dungeons. So I'm like, What will be the popular consensus?
So it's gonna. I don't know. This is more difficult than I thought it would be. Because the thing with P3R is that, like, even if it plays well, I would fight anyone on, like, oh man, this dungeon crawling is like the best. These are the best dungeons in the series. Like, no, I will fight you. Randomly generated dungeons is no. But also, SMT5's dungeons suck. I'm gonna go out on a limb and I'm gonna say SMT5.
Okay.
If only because they have the benefit of the problem wasn't inherent. It wasn't inherent to SMT5. It was just straight up, this design is bad.
For sure.
So they could still design a good dungeon, whereas with Persona 3, it's like the entire idea is that ultimately the crux of it is that it is randomly generated.
I will say SMT5 as well, although I do want to put an interesting little note on there of, I think the value proposition of the season pass won't be a question once it comes out. I think they will very much show that this is worth $35 to pick up on its own. I will say, especially now that it was confirmed that this is the case, not being able to buy it piecemeal just makes you look scummy. It's so dumb you can't just buy it separately. Because, like, here's the thing. Even if that's the case, just don't confirm it now. No one asked you to confirm it. Like, it's nice that you told us and ripped off the Band-Aid, like, 6 months ahead of release. But, like, realistically, you just look like assholes. Like, do you guys not know that it just makes you look like assholes? Like, realistically, did we expect them to charge us, like, $20 for the answer? No. Like, I could see them charging $30 for it on its own. Because it's like, you look at the DLC, it's like, what are we valuing this music and costume at? Like, $5?
I guess.
Like, how much? Like, how much money did you think you were
genuinely
really gonna save if you just bought Episode Igus?
It's genuinely the entire thing that just makes this DLC ass. It is those first two drops. Those first two drops are just awful.
They should have just both been out now. Like, why even split it up into three waves?
Those should. You know what? No. You know what they should have been? They should have been things that dropped the second you bought it. It should have been a pre-order incentive. If anything.
Unfortunately, there was a pre-order incentive for P3, and I bet you already forgot what it was.
No, I know. I mean specifically.
No.
Pre-order
But I'm saying,
deal.
like, do you even remember if you pre-order P3R, what the exclusive DLC is? Not what DLC do you get with the season pass? Like, there is DLC that if you don't buy a digital copy or a launch copy, you can't get this DLC. Do you remember what it is?
Fuck.
It is the Persona 4 Golden background music.
Oh, that's so
You
dumb.
can't.
That is
you
so
can't
dumb.
buy it separately. You have to get it as the day one bonus.
I'm gonna be totally weird with you. I think Atlus vastly overestimates how much people actually like, how much their music is actually worth.
Okay, I would say you are correct, but here's the thing. I think Atlus knows that their music is very nostalgic and has worth. I think they're dog shit at implementing it. Because, like,
no, it's
did you?
It's literally, it's just like no, I'm not. Your music is great. This is not a reason to pre-order a game.
It's not.
This is not the reason to pre-order a game.
Now that
I don't care how good it is.
Now I do
not.
want to say, so I made a video showing off the new DLC. I'll try and link it below or whatever, but you should be able to find it on the channel on YouTube. But the DLC, I had already pretty low expectations of the EX DLC. I just knew, hey, now when you're traversing, you can now change the background music. Which, hey, Mac, do you remember in Persona 3 when you could just ask Fuka to change the background music and she would do it for free?
You could just do that already.
So,
don't you just love taking little features like that and then making them taking them out of the game and then just putting them as DLC.
Well, what's sad is like
Day
they
one,
actually
don't
it
love
takes the personality out of it, because like I liked that you could like that's one of the things you could talk to Fuka about, but now it's just a thing in the config menu. So here's the thing that's extra dumb. There is specifically 2 DLC musics. There are now musics only for battle, and then music songs that are only for traversal. So that means you can only explore with the Junes theme. You can never fight with the Junes theme.
That's also really stupid.
Like, why not just have them all be one big DLC thing, and you could pick, here's the songs I want for traversal, or here's the songs I want for battle. Like, they have songs in there that I'm like, okay, I love that. Like, seriously, one of the first song I put on when I downloaded it, they have I Believe, because I was like, oh my god, that's like one of my favorite songs ever, and it's like, it's my favorite Persona 5 song. I would love to fight with that. Let me try and check it out with it. Oh no, I can only explore. And I'm like, you're never really just running around Tartarus that long that you're going to enjoy listening to like a 3-minute long chorus.
The song that plays Tartarus and plays in Tartarus normally, it is a little, like, when you really think about it, it is repetitive, but the reason why it's repetitive is because when you're just exploring a floor, you're only going to be hearing this song for like maybe a minute. If you're going fast, you're only really going to hear it for like a minute. That's not a long time.
No, but I will say, because a lot of other games, and especially RPGs, do have DLC music, and I still think the best example of how to do it is Persona 5 Strikers, of include music from every game, because also, here's the other thing. The game already had DLC music for Persona 3, 4, and 5, so you would think, okay, we're going to add more music. Okay, are you going to add them from 1 and 2? No. Just more 4 and 5. So it's like, I would hope that why wouldn't you have gone and added older song tracks as well? But with the fact that the game is still being in development, like, I think these are tiny little quality of life things that if they like go in and patch for like Wave 2 or whatever, like, it would be a nice general step of being like, hey, because we're still working on this game, because obviously the way they would do it before, it wouldn't make any sense. Like, why go back and patch Persona 5? It's only one of our best-selling games ever. Should we ever make a single fucking patch for that game? No? Alright, we're good. So now, like, with Reload still being worked on, like, realistically, there's going to be a big patch once Episode I Guess is ready. I hope that they, like, actually listen to some of the feedback that the base game has, because, like, there's a lot of just general quality of life changes they could still add to that game that would be a nice way to say, hey, even if you didn't buy this season pass, because we were working on this game, here's some extra free changes, or here's some extra little additions. So, like, I hope they're listening, because, like, they're still developing it, they're still working on it. We've still got a lot of, like, time left with it all and everything. So, like, I'm optimistic in that front. Did you have any thoughts when the interviews were coming out, though, Mac? Like, how did you feel when Wada came out? So, series producer Wada made a, like, weird... I don't know why he did this video, but he did a sit-down video basically explaining the thought process behind Episode I Guess, where he expected us all to genuinely look him in the eye. And remember, by the way, this is the same guy who, like, made an announcement video to announce Rollback, like, a year and a half before Ultimax got Rollback. But he sat down, he looked us dead in the eye, and he said, we were not going to make this until the announcement last summer. And I'm genuinely...
Because the fans...
So I'm genuinely curious where you lie on this. Like, do you believe him? Because, like, I'm going to be 110% honest. I 100% believe that they planned to never include the answer, and they were going to cheap out on it. I 100% believe him on that.
I think he might be telling the truth. I think it's totally possible that he's telling the truth that they did intend to include the answer, and then eventually they had to drop it for one reason or another. However, I do not believe him for a minute that the reason why they brought it back was because of the fans. I do not believe him for a minute.
I will say that, because, like, to be fair, When
It
Reload
was brought
when
back
Reload
because
got
Sega wants to push really hard on DLC.
yeah.
That's why it was brought back.
Well, also it's like, no offense, like any idiot with an internet connection will tell you this. When Reload got announced and even was teased and leaked, what was the number one question on everyone's brain? Is the female protagonist there? That was more of the question than, oh my god, I hope they include the answer.
No, it was people were like, no, I want. It's like no, I don't believe them at all. I think it was brought back because Sega was like, you have to do
The
DLC.
shareholders.
We want to do a season
The
pass.
shareholders, dude.
Shareholder. No, 100%. I don't believe Atlus for a second. I don't believe Wada for a second.
I would say, though, I'm glad they're finally doing this in terms of, like, showing real legitimate support to these games. It's just so funny that, like, they couldn't be more, like, self-reflective and even look at other studios, like, who've done DLC support. Like, I would say Lost Judgment, that's a great season pass. Like, that might not be, oh, I
Yes.
love everything that's in there, but, like, just the...
I still have issues with it. I think the fact that the boxing fighting style was locked behind it is bullshit.
For sure. But, like...
That was absolutely in the game, and then they cut it.
Yeah.
But
100%.
when you actually look at the general contents of that DLC, I think it's like, no, this is actually pretty solid, boxing style aside. I think this is actually reasons for someone to want to keep coming back.
Yeah, I mean, like,
I
I think a lot of people slept on it, but I've not talked to a single person who played the Kaido Files and didn't love it.
Mm-hmm. The Kaido Files was great.
So I think that if they looked at that, and I mean, even look at other games that come out with it, like, again, to bring up Xenoblade, I feel like Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and 3 has got to be one of the best examples of how an RPG makes a perfect season pass. Like, give you little bits of drip feed content. It's completely optional stuff. It's adding new quests, adding new characters, adding new weapons, little reminders to keep you playing at the game, and then end it with this big epilogue-like 2.5 style release that we normally would have just done as a, like you said, like a reloaded, and do it then, but instead make it this optional thing that either, hey, you can buy it on its own, or you can just have it as like a DLC, blah, blah, blah. And, like, for the people who were, like, saying, like, oh, it should have been 30 or 35, like, it's whatever. Like, the price, I think the price for what they're including is completely fine myself. I'm also the fucking idiot who gets shit on because he says $70 games are fine. So, like, I completely get it. Like, price is completely subjective. Everyone's got their sides with it of, like, I'd say if you're even remotely pissed off at the price, just like I said with, like, the answer, just wait till September. We'll know in 6 months if this is worth it or not. If it's a fucking piece of shit, guess what? It doesn't make Persona 3 Reload any worse. No one's playing Persona 3 Reload right now, myself included. No one's playing it being like, oh, sure wish it's had the answer.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it doesn't taint any part of its experience. Like, that's why I think it's so interesting that they're doing this the way they are, because I think it's gonna speak really loudly in terms of how they do DLC going forward, how they do re-releases as well, and then kind of see really how that's implemented. Because I think one of the big questions for them is going to be how many people will hold on to their copy of this game who would have sold it now that this DLC got announced. You know what I mean? Because a big thing of why they wanted to announce it so quickly is A, to get the pre-order money ahead of time, and also B, just to kind of be like, hey, if you're someone who beat Persona 3 and ran through it in a month, now's another reason to hold on to it for another 6 months. Other things I will say that will be interesting that I've thought about, like 2 questions. What are the chances of us getting a all-in-one physical edition? Probably not when Episode Aegis comes out, but like eventually down the line as like a Game of the Year edition with like all of it for $70 again. Like, I feel like at least in Japan, like there's no way that doesn't happen.
I think we will eventually get a re-release. I think we will eventually get some kind of re-release or whatever.
Switch 2 launch. There you go. Slap it on there.
I will
reloaded
say
portable.
that is one benefit of uh the like the enhanced re-release of a Royal as opposed to a DLC is that it's all going to be on disc. However, I think it's also like they could just do a Game of the Year edition later down the line.
Oh, for sure. And then the other one I was curious about, because much like Japan sold the answer as its own thing. I wonder if it is as one-to-one as it was before. Is there a chance that down the line they make it its own standalone executable, like the way you could play? Do you remember how they sold like The Last of Us, like Left Behind? And I know they did the same thing with Torna. Like, so Torna is just its own standalone bootable game file if you want to just buy it on its own. Like, do you think they will ever do that?
I mean, it's difficult to get the cartridge now, but like it was a standalone cartridge, and that was a game that you genuinely could just buy on its own and play as is. You didn't really. I mean, it would spoil a few things from 2, but there was no like, what's the word?
Context.
There was no barrier to entry there.
Yeah. So, like, do you think they try that again with this, or is there no point separating it from Reload?
I think they won't do it. I don't think they'll do it.
I'd be curious, at least just to kind of see the reception and everything for it. We're gonna have to wait and get a better idea. I think 2024 is gonna be a really fucking weird year for games. I think there's a lot of amazing games that are gonna come out like last year, but I think especially with how many jobs we've seen laid off, how much changes we've been kind of like checking out in the industry, I think it's gonna be a year of really heavy hitters and a lot of downtime between them. I think we're going to have a lot of, I don't think it's going to be a busy summer. I'm sure we're going to have all the usual big ones in the fall, but it's like, I feel like this year more than others, we have a lot of question marks about what the heck's getting announced and stuff. And it's like, I mean, I'm here for it. I know there's always going to be games to play. I'm always excited for, whether it be big games, small games, whatever. We just kind of got to wait and see with it. Unfortunately, much like the discussion of does the answer suck versus is the answer cinematic masterpiece, this also brought up, hopefully for the last time, but I mean, let's be honest, it's not going to be for the last time. During the same interview, Wada said, this is the final, quote unquote, this is the final piece of content for Persona 3 Reload. They're not making anything else. For real this time. So now, question number 1, before we talk about the female elephant in the room, do you believe him? Do you believe that the answer is the final piece of content for Persona 3 Reload?
I'm going to say yes. For this specific thing, for this specific release, yes.
Well, I don't want to pussyfoot around it. In the case of this discussion, this also includes any and all future re-releases of this. So if there's a Switch 2 version that then has the chance of having her, that also has to be included in this discussion. Any and all future versions of Reload. Do we expect this?
If it is just Reload, I'm still gonna say no. If it's just a port of Reload, like how they brought Royal to everything, I'm gonna say no. I think what it will be instead, I think the only way we could get it again is if they do another release of P3 that's not Reload.
I feel like if they go back on their word, if this is an example of them going back on their word and eventually add anything else, whether it be FemC, whether it just be fucking Persona 2 handjob mechanics, if they do anything else to this game, they are going to have the most egg on their face ever. Like, the only way they could do anything else and not can be completely held over the fires, like the way the internet kind of is acting over the DLC now, like the only way that they would actually suffer any genuine negative PR consequences is they would have to add her for free to every console.
Mm-hmm. No, people are like, just the answer alone, people are pissed about.
But again, like that goes back to that thing of like, I genuinely believe there are more people excited to play this DLC than pissed about it, though. Like, they're pissed about it the way that people are pissed about talking about, like, the fucking, like, Sweet Baby Inc. company. Like, they're pissed about it in the way, like, yeah, but, like, it's not everybody. Like, there's people who are pissed about it, but, like, it's not to say that the haters aren't out there. It's that they're completely, though, the vocal minority.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if Atlus West themselves, right now, made a poll, obviously the most, like, biased place ever, but that's their audience. If Atlus West made a poll right now that said, are you excited and / buying the DLC for The Answer, I bet you it would be at least, like, 70+% yes. Because, like, I think we genuinely, like, don't talk about it enough, that there are so many people, like, so many people, who, when they're an Atlus fan, this is what they do. Oh, that's an Atlus game? Especially Persona. Like, oh, this is Persona? I'm going to buy it. Do you know what it's about? No, I like Persona, though. That's it. That's all it takes.
I think they're casual. Yeah. I think you might be right, but I don't know. But
you don't like that. Idea. You don't like living in that reality, though.
Yeah.
The sheeple.
I don't like it, but it's true.
It's the same thing like how if you looked at the internet when Limited Run announced P3P and P4G, you would have thought more people were pissed than bought that. As someone who recently learned how many copies of that got fucking sold, holy shit, a lot of people didn't give a fuck that Limited Run produced that. There was a lot of people who bought those fucking games.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think it's just an important thing to remember. Now, going back, though, to the whole FEMC thing, whether they do it, whether they don't, whether whatever, I think the timing, especially with the PC mod, led to so many people talking out their asses. I'm embarrassed for them. Like, if you're one of those people and you're listening to this who genuinely think, because obviously not everyone knows how game development works. I even, like, as someone who's been covering it 20 plus years in my life, I know very little about game development realistically when it gets to it. But I know even something like adding the female character to Reload, what that would genuinely mean. Like, if you looked me in the eye and said, oh yeah, it's just a skin, it's just a character, like, I would probably just laugh at your face. Like, if you're someone who looked at the female protagonist mod that's on PC, which again, awesome work, really cool stuff, like, that's literally just putting makeup on a male protagonist.
So, listen, my roommate, a few weeks ago, he came to me and asked, do you think someone could just mod it in? And I said no. And he's like, well, it's like, all you like do you think Atlus could just do it? Do you think it would actually take that much to do?
100%.
And I said, yes, it absolutely would take quite a bit to do. He's like, well, why? And then I explained, because it's so much more than just, oh, we're swapping around some pronouns and stuff. No, it is, I feel like the average person does not understand how big FEMC is. Like, how big a task it is. It is not at all what you think. And the thing is, my roommate, he's never touched Persona 3 in his life. He was playing devil's advocate. If you think, oh, these people, they modded FEMC in like 2 weeks, they could totally do it. No, you do not understand. You are severely underestimating what this is. And in fact, In fact, the post that originally blew up about this from Sonic Saber, he was like, "Oh yeah, that's like 10% of FemC stuff." You know what? I'm gonna argue. No, that's less than 10%.
Oh no, 100%. Like literally, the costume is the least amount of things with it. Because like, and if I get anything wrong about the mod, like please correct me in the comments. But like, the mod doesn't have any of the additional costumes, right? There's no tuxedo, there's no battle panties, there's no swimsuit, there's no like all the other seasonal outfits. The all-out attack completely sticks out like a sore thumb, even with all the work that they've done with it. They have to make all of the social links with the male characters. They then have to rewrite all of the social links with the female characters. They then have to
go in and rewrite like a bunch of the scenes.
And oh yeah, that's true. Every social link, like many aspects of the social link, vastly different because of you being a woman in that game. And then going into the thing of re-recording all of those dialogues, all of those social links have to get re-recorded. All of those it would be, from just recording wise, expensive. And then here's the big fuck you. This is why it would be horrendously expensive and would never happen. That no one wants to talk about. What about animated cutscenes? All of those have to be redone now. All the opening, all the in-game ones, all the final cutscenes, all of those have to be redone with the new character.
Listen, the main story, when you break down the actual story, not the script, the story, it is the same. But when you look at the script, it is not at all the same.
Yep.
The story is the same, the script is not the same.
Yeah, like, it's bullet point correct. They are both telling the same story. The way you get there, the ways that it's conveyed, super night and day. Super night and day.
Completely different themes.
And it's like
different approaches to the same events.
And it makes me wonder, like, seeing how the internet responded to that without really kind of knowing it, like, as an... Like, I always thought, yeah, everyone knows that. But then it, like, goes back to it, it's like, did people just genuinely think that the FemC route in Portable was just like a whatever, like, it's a whole second campaign. That's why Portable was so cool. Because it was so different. There's a reason you get 2 different achievements based on who you play. Like, you're not really experiencing all of Persona 3 unless you really want to play through both because of how different it is.
Mm-hmm. No, it's genuinely, it's just pure ignorance, I feel. And I mean, no disrespect to anyone who, like, believes this kind of thing. I mean, no disrespect to you, but I'm sorry, don't know what you're talking about. But I promise you, you do not.
I at least would have enjoyed it if, like, Atlus, I think, had more of an actual discussion about it. It would have been cool to be like, hey, let's really, like, I think if they really had a moment of, like, let's actually explain why she's not being added. Because I think the way people look at these interviews, I genuinely think in their head it's like, oh, well, it's not getting added because they just don't want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think if they genuinely, like, even actually, as funny as this would have been, if they, at launch, like, at the game's announcement, said, hey, we're not planning on doing the answer, and we're not planning on doing a female character, but if you were interested in that, we would have to charge another $60. Realistically talking about how much money it would be to make this DLC for the answer and this amount of work for the second protagonist character. If they had that discussion, they explained how much extra work would have to go into it, how the development timeline would work, do you think that the internet would be ready for that discussion? Because I think that's a completely fair price for that amount of work and that amount of content. I think the internet would see $130 game and go, boo, you're robbing me.
They would 100% go that. They'd 100% go that, because there wouldn't be. I feel like people more and more are kind of losing patience for the Atlus enhanced re-release. I feel like, because even just like Vengeance, I saw some people be like, "What the fuck? I bought an unfinished version of it. I just bought an
beta
unfinished
tester,
game."
beta tester over here."
Exactly. Like I feel like people are just. I feel like people in general are losing patience ways. Even if I think like, oh, Vengeance looks super cool, and I think it has a chance to like really improve things. I think as time goes on and things like patches and DLC becomes more normalized, I feel like it's becoming harder to justify.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those things, like, I know we can get there. I know it's a conversation that has to be had versus being told this is the right answer, this is the wrong answer, and different stuff like that. So I like that different things like this keep coming up and that people talk about it with it. But I think especially just with games and how people get so opinionated about this is wrong, and if you say otherwise, you're wrong, and there's no, like, if, ands, or buts, or whatever about it, whereas, like, no, I mean, like, honestly, it's like, even if you vehemently disagree, if you're someone who, like, and I know these people exist, there are people out there who will look you in your eye and say, Spencer, for $70, I should have gotten all of this in one game. Those are the same people who realistically think that Final Fantasy VII Remake should be one game.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter how much you talk to them about, like, scope, budgeting, development timelines, some people just think... Because, like, again, it's the same people, because, like, going back to the answer, and, like, the talk about, okay, you are 100% right, Mac... Persona 3 Reload as a complete experience, fuck the DLC, like the baby DLC, like we're just talking the game and the answer, that's a $105 experience. In my opinion, I will be shocked if it's not worth it. I would have paid $100 just for P3R, because that's a big-ass chunk amount of game. But some people are still in that mindset of, games are expensive at $60. Fuck me, man, I paid $50 for... Persona 5 back in the day. I paid $30 for Fez. You see how much content? And then you see people now posting, oh, dust off your PS3. Just download Fez right now for $10. Why pay 30? Why pay 105 when you can pay it for $10? It's like, hey, that's such a straw man argument of like, yeah, okay, alright, Billy, I know you want to play the brand new version of Persona 3. Well, suck it up. I'm going to make you play it on a fucking PS3 George Foreman grill. Yeah, that's the same experience. Like, no, they're not the same thing. It's a completely from the ground up remade game. And when I see people out there being like, yeah, fuck that, they're just being greedy. You should just buy the $10 version. And even the people who are like at least being more realistic, being like, hey, just pay $20 for portable. Yeah, play portable if you want. It's still not the same game. It's still a completely different experience.
No, it's like I feel like more than like most other games, this is a situation where it's just like, no, you don't understand. This is like Persona 3 is a game with like the difference, like so many insane, like these versions, like there's so many different versions and they're all so different from each other. These are not, like, they're just not the same games. They are just not the same games at all. You cannot simply go, oh, well, Fez and Reload are the same game. No, they're not. No, the hell they aren't. Fez and friggin' Portable is the same game. No, they're not. Reload's the same as Portable. No, it's not.
Even if we get that unicorn version of Persona 3 that everyone always says, the version that has a female protagonist, it has the answer, and it has everything remade from the original version, guess what? I guarantee you there will still be people out there who might prefer portable because it is such a vastly different style of game. Like, that is a visual novel RPG, whereas Persona 3 is a life sim RPG.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're very different. The flow is different, the way the conversations are different, the way you traverse the world. Yeah, Tartarus is the same, but it's like, some people just genuinely like one more than the other, and that's the same reason why people don't like Portable versus the original, because it is so drastically different.
But word same.
Word same.
Word same.
I need to just slap a wig on Makoto Yuki, and it will be the exact same game.
Word same.
I can't wait. I really am genuinely curious what like the comments on this will be with it, just because like.
Hey, person who's upset about anything I've said, I said it specifically because I hate you.
Damn. This is why you have more subs than me, Mac.
Yes. I'm not afraid to be like,
You're not
I hate
afraid.
my audience. I hate my audience. They are bad people.
Oh my god. Well,
jerk.
I feel like that's at least most of it. Like I said though, please let us know in the comments below. I'm genuinely curious. Are we the minority? Do you guys agree? Are we drinking the Atlus Kool-Aid a little too much? Let us know in the comments below, or Twitter, whatever. Pick your poison. That's much going to be it for the show. I don't even know how long you've been going, Matt. How long have I kept you kidnapped so far?
2 hours.
God, Jesus Christ.
Let me go home.
Let me go. Dude, I haven't had dinner. I am so hungry.
Let me go.
So, and my G Fuel's out, dude. I mean, like, when G Fuel's out, the show's done.
I ran out of G Fuel 10 minutes ago.
You just hardcore fucking chugged it.
Honestly,
G Fuel, please make.
Honestly, I was actually my
canned
drink
versions.
actually run out like 10 minutes in, but that's because I've been drinking it for 20 minutes before we started.
So what we get for talking about a fucking James Gunn. Alright, Mac, where can people find you online and not watch you talk about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth?
You can find me at JBO Maka, basically everywhere. Blue Sky, Twitter, Blue Sky. I said Blue Sky.
Bro, are you blue skying?
Yo,
I didn't know you were a blue sky.
Let me Blue Sky's open to everyone. I'm at this point. I'm just like, please just decide on a Twitter alternative. I already grabbed my account.
Dude, it's not going anywhere. The internet will just continue
somewhere else.
Dude, Twitter's never going anywhere.
I'm so upset. I hate Elon.
Yeah, but people also hate Mark Zuckerberg, and people still use Facebook every day.
Yeah, Mark Zuckerberg seems more like he's not.
You're just waiting for that match of Elon v Mark.
You can find me on Tinder.
I
Bumble.
hope I find a Tinder. Can you imagine that message? Hey, I just listened to you on that podcast.
FetLife.
You are not on FetLife. Don't even give me the hope that you'd be on FetLife. I wish you were on FetLife.
Genuinely, I don't think I've ever actually been on. I don't think I've ever typed that into my.
No joke. The first time I ever learned what FetLife is, which we will not be talking about in any more detail, but when I first learned about it, I was convinced it was a furry website because in my head, "fet" rhymed with "pet."
Yeah, I can get that. Also, I just typed FetLife into my browser, so I have now done that for once.
FBI is moments away from knocking your door down.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any plans on what video is coming up next? I know you've got like 9 million things. You gotta. I mean, fuck, dude, it's March. You gotta finish Persona soon.
No, absolutely. That's my next big thing. I have a smaller video planned that I want to do. I'm gonna be trying to shoot that this weekend, and then I'll work on it next week. But while I am, once that's like editing and stuff, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sit down. I'm just gonna freaking play P5R, and then that's what I'm gonna be focusing on for the next like 3 weeks.
I'm so excited for you to finally get to the good part of P5R.
Mm-hmm.
So, everybody enjoying the show, obviously we always have our show links, Facebook group, I think that finally hit 12K in between episodes. So, shout out to the Facebook group. Twitter is almost also at 12K, so that would be pretty cool. You know what's definitely not at 12,000?
Hey.
The YouTube channel. So if you would like to check out the YouTube channel and give it some love, we've put a bunch of different videos up there. I did a unboxing/review for Persona 4 Golden. If you ever wondered how can one man make unboxing a single PS4 game take over 10 minutes, welcome to my YouTube channel. Besides that, support the show, patreon.com/SMTN. You guys have been genuinely killing it in terms of helping keep the lights on over here. So big shout outs to just anyone over there. We've still got the month-long giveaway going on, so you have another about 15 days or so if you would like to get the free acrylic keychain from P3R. It is a worldwide giveaway. You just got to be a patron at any donation level and reply in the thread, say, I want free thing, give me free, and then a winner will be selected at the end of the month. $1 and up, people get the show early, exclusive giveaways, blah, 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 stuff like that. But also, $5 and up are executive producer tiers, so big shout-outs to Michael Wilson, Belchill, Cosmic Illumi, Contraband, Budweiser Talkins, Carlos Hernandez, Cross Ren Ren, Wenny, Jagengus, Goracero, Solaire, Mirth Mouser, Stephen Yip, and Patrick Dessart. Thank you guys so much for the support. Thank you, Mac, and everyone check out Mac's GoFundMe all the way to Blue Sky and FetLife all the way there, and damn, what a long but good discussion.
Well, you check all of those things, but don't check my Patreon.
What do you mean?
Don't
Isn't
check
it up?
the Patreon.
Did you nuke the Patreon?
No, I'm trying reverse psychology.
Oh, you're negging him. Okay, all right. Can you imagine someone's like, here's $100 because you told me not to, you fuck.
Yeah, I don't want your $100. In fact, I'm allergic to money. So don't give me a bunch of money. It will make me break out in hives.
God damn it. All right. Well, everyone, we will see you next week. Sorry about the delay on this episode, but I think it turned out really, really well, so I hope you enjoy. We will see you for next week's episode. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Max over here fucking sounding like the Crypt Keeper.
I'm tired.